We're live. Sharita?
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 11th COVID313 Community Coalition for Families and Students Town Hall. My name is Sharita Smith, lifelong Detroiter, wife of one and mother to 4 amazing sons, one of whom is celebrating his 20th birthday today. We live on the East Side, but I'm honored to serve as Executive Director of Grandma Rosedale Development Corporation, a community-driven CDC that has served Northwest Detroit for over 30 years. Thank you so much, COVID313 Community Coalition for Families and Students, for allowing me to serve as co-moderator for today's town hall. This new normal that we're all experiencing has certainly had a share of challenges. You know, we're not able to visit and connect with loved ones in the same ways that we're used to. Some of us experiencing feelings of isolation, dealing with so much grief and loss. And we would be remiss not to mention this most recent tragedy, the murder of our brother, George Floyd. Our hearts and our prayers certainly go out to his loved ones and all of us really who've been impacted by his tragic death. A lack of clear direction and guidance about how we get to the other side of this can really raise our levels of fear and anxiety. The good news is that we are all in this together. And we really have to commit to be kind and understanding with ourselves and with one another. There are things for which we can be hopeful and grateful, even in the midst of COVID-19. And I really want to encourage us to take the time every day to reflect on at least one of those things that makes your heart feel grateful and hopeful. So again, in the midst of these challenges, there are certainly some good things that have happened, particularly around housing, that would cause us to have a little bit of hope about future possibilities. I personally know what it's like to lose a home and have experienced all the trauma and emotion that comes with having to figure it out and figure out taking those necessary steps to make sure my family will be safe and good and move forward. And that's why my hope remains so strong, because that certainly wasn't the end of my story. And this certainly will not be the end of ours, these current troubles. And so we have a number of experts today that are going to be joining us to talk about housing and the options, opportunities, and resources that are available to help us get through to the other side, both of this immediate crisis and also how we recover beyond this in a resilient way. Having access to information that we can use is powerful. And so we want to encourage you to stay vigilant, plug into this conversation, raise questions, and contribute to making this a powerful and impactful time. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. We're translating the town hall today in Spanish, Arabic, and ASL. So we want to give folks time to get on the right line and get comfortable. Gloria, would you please share the phone number for Spanish translation?
Para traducción en español, puede hablar al 313-626-7440. Si necesita a alguien que hable en español, el número es 313-626-7440. Hoy la señora Gloria y Cristina estarán haciendo la traducción. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Gloria. Saeed, please share the phone number for Arabic translation.
إن كنت بحاجة للترجمة إلى اللغة العربية، الرجاء الاتصال على الرقم 313-241-7030. الرقم مجددا هو 313-241-7030. معكم سعيد ونجوى دحدح، مستعدون لخدمتكم وشكرا. Thank you.
Thank you, Saeed. Katie or Julie, please share the instructions for ASL. All right, up next, I'd like to welcome my colleague, Phyllis.
Good afternoon. My name is Phyllis Edwards, and I am honored to serve as the Executive Director of Bridging Communities, a nonprofit in Southwest Detroit that has been providing services to our elders for over 40 years and ensuring the neighborhood remains stable. I live, work, worship, and play in the city of Detroit. I am also honored to be a co-moderator today in this great opportunity with COVID313 Community Coalition for Families and Youth, which is comprised of community and faith-based organizations, educational systems, foundations, DPTV, and advocates that not only care about and provide services to families, but we serve as agents of change, committed to bringing you facts, resources, and support during these unprecedented times in our living history, as we continue to discover the impact and the uncertainties of COVID-19. Every week, we strive to empower you with accurate information directly from the experts on specific topics. Scripture states that people perish for a lack of knowledge. Well, not here in our city, because knowledge is power. And speaking of facts and knowledge, the weather is breaking, but we have not broken COVID. We still need to adhere to the doctors and nurses on the front lines and the Center for Disease Control to continue practicing social distancing, because the life you save could be one of your loved ones as well as me. It is so important that while we're excited to get outside and be in public spaces and get near to family members we've only seen in Zoom calls over the past 8 weeks, please stay safe and vigilant. Know the facts. COVID-19 has hit Michigan hard. In less than 3 months, over 52,000 Michiganders have fallen ill from it, and over 5,000 people have lost their lives to this disease. Tens of thousands in our state have been impacted by this disease, and just think, this cycle could happen again if we aren't vigilant. In Detroit, we have lost so many of our elders, our parents, grandmothers, grandfathers, aunts, uncles, nieces, cousins. We've lost community leaders in the height of their professional careers, our spiritual leaders, and youth who before contracting the disease had all the zeal, their age, and they appeared healthy. Unfortunately, COVID continues to reinvent itself, and we are witnessing new ways that COVID is beginning to impact our children. The numbers I gave represents people, their lives matter, you and your family lives matter, the sick and the deceased lives matter. They are not just statistics or merely the price we have to pay to open up and get the economy going. People, healthy, educated, loving, powerful people creating a just and equitable society fuels the engine that is needed for this city and nation to recover. These are the facts. They don't go away with press conferences or because we desperately want to go back to normal. In these uncertain times, living within this new normal, we, the COVID313 Community Coalition, are here with you, along with officials at the city, state level, working to keep you informed and powerful. So get ready to hear from our awesome experts regarding policies impacting homeowners and renters, tenants' rights, evictions, how to avoid tax foreclosure, property tax exemption, mortgage remodification, financial counseling, the CARES Act, and of course, how to keep your home healthy. Our goal today is to ensure whether you are a renter or a homeowner, you have the knowledge and resources to prevent evictions, foreclosures, and homelessness. It's a great day in the neighborhood, in our city, so let's get started. Remember, we can enjoy the sunshine outdoors and be excited that we have more time to spend with family and ourselves. Just remember, COVID is not on vacation. With that, I'm passing it forward to Sharita to share a little more about today's town hall.
Thank you, Phyllis. And everyone, please stay with us for the next 2 hours so you can stay informed and powerful. This is also a time for you to ask our expert guests your questions. So to ask your questions, please use the chat on Facebook, or you can text your questions to 313-288-2082. Again, that's 313-288-2082. We will have questions and answers after each segment. And if we can't answer a question today, we are committed to getting the answers to you by early next week. All the questions asked today will be posted with answers on onedetroitpbs.org. Gloria, please share the Spanish translation number for our folks that have just arrived.
Para traducción en español, por favor, comuníquense al 313-626-7440. Una vez más, al 313-626-7440. Hoy la señora Gloria y Cristina estarán haciendo la traducción. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. Saeed, please share the number for the Arabic translation.
إن كنت بحاجة للترجمة إلى اللغة العربية الرجاء الاتصال على رقم 313-241-7030. الرقم مجددا هو 313-241-7030. وشكرا. Thank you.
Thank you, Saeed. Katie or Julie, please share the instructions for American Sign Language for folks that have just arrived. All right, Phyllis, it's back to you.
Thank you, Sharita, and thank you to all our interpreters. Today, you'll hear from the following presenters who will each speak about housing justice and resources within their specific area of expertise. Ruth Johnson, Public Policy Director for Community Development Advocates of Detroit. Charles Hobb, Director of Legal Service Programs for Street Democracy. Charlene Snow, Director of Legal Services for United Community Housing Coalition. Tanya Phillips, Community Partnership and Development Director for Sugar Law. Donald Rencher, Director of Housing and Revitalization with the City of Detroit. Lakeisha Hancock, Housing Counselor and Educator from Youth Snapback. Michelle Oberholzer, Director of Tax Foreclosure Prevention with United Community Housing Coalition. Tracy Smith, a Housing Counselor and Financial Wellness Coach with Central Detroit Christians Community Development Corporation. Willie Dunwell, Chairman of the Property Assessment Board of Review for the City of Detroit. Jerome Drain, Director of Community Engagement with Wayne Metro. Tony Paris, Lead Attorney with Sugar Law to talk about unemployment. Logan Appleby, AmeriCorps Green Schools Coordinator with EcoWorks. And Monique Taylor from Hope Starts Here. We'll be posting the rules in the town hall in the chat right now. We want to make this town hall as interactive as possible. So ask questions and share your own ideas and resources. Sharita?
Thanks again, Phyllis. Today, our panelists will share with us the 3 to 5 most important pieces of information that families and students need to know right now in their particular areas of expertise. They'll be sharing about their work in housing justice, connecting us to resources, and informing us of our rights. Our chat moderators will do their very best to ensure you have access to all phone numbers and websites which are shared today. For our experts, please remember to speak slowly and clearly for our translators. They want to make sure that they are translating the important information that you are sharing correctly. Also, be sure to turn off your camera when you are not speaking so that the ASL interpreter can be seen, and mute yourself when you are not speaking. Ria Massey is our timekeeper. She will chat with you your remaining time, and if you go over your time, Phyllis will gently remind you to start to wrap it up. We'll be taking questions from our audience at the end of your segment, and now I'm going to ask Phyllis to please introduce our first section and presenter. You're on mute, Phyllis.
Thank you. We're ready for liftoff. We are excited for this town hall, and we have a great group of panelists coming up. Remember, if you have questions, you can ask them by typing in the Facebook Live chat or texting 313-288-2082. Again, that number is 313-288-2082. We have moderators on both lines who are transferring the text to your co-facilitators today. Our first segment is about supporting renters in Metro Detroit. First, we will have Ruth Johnson, Public Policy Director for Community Development of Advocates. Welcome, Ruth.
Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you, Sharita. Hello, everyone. Hola. My name is Ruth Johnson. I'm the Public Policy Director of CDAD, Community Development Advocates of Detroit, and I'm so pleased to be here to talk about housing justice. There are three main points I want to convey to the audience. One, this housing crisis is not new. This was not something that was just created during the COVID pandemic. Two, I want to give you a quick overview of governmental responses and relief that have or will be available to deal with some of the housing issues. And three, just know, be hopeful because there are solutions. So I'll present some of the policy recommendations that CDAD would like to see both on the state and the city level. So I don't have to tell anybody who's listening, because I've always believed that everybody is an expert on their lives, their family's life, their community's life. And they're great advocates because they've always known what is best and how to ask for it. And also, we've lived through many of these housing crises, whether it's disinvestment, demolitions, mortgage and tax foreclosures, water and utility shutoffs, dealing with houses and buildings that aren't up to code and then sometimes demolished, population loss. This has all led to housing instability, insecurity, and just simply not enough affordable, safe, accessible housing for our residents who are predominantly low or very low income. So where we are now with COVID-19 is on the federal level, the CARES Act has provided money to the state of Michigan and specifically to the city of Detroit to deal with housing and homelessness. We also on the state and federal level have eviction moratoriums. On the federal level, it goes to June 30th, on the state level to June 11th. Now, the federal moratorium on foreclosures, that deals with any federally backed mortgages or federally insured. So that's the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Federal Housing Administration type of loans. And there are some places you can go and find out if where you're living has a federally backed mortgage. But on the state side, we have just a voluntary mortgage forbearance program. And again, that is for mostly state chartered banks and credit unions. So the problem we have is temporary solutions, partial solutions that will end either mid-June or end of June. We're very thankful on the local level that the Wayne County Treasurer has said that there will be no foreclosures for the rest of the year, tax foreclosures, and that the 36th District Court said they'll have no eviction actions through June 12th. But the reality is that there's going to be a flood, a tsunami, whatever disaster term you want to use, when all these things end. We are thankful that there is help now. We have attorneys and people from legal services and law centers who can tell you more about what's available. But also know that anti-discrimination laws dealing with fair housing to help those who are impacted by domestic violence, that is still available. The courts will still help you if you are being assaulted in your home or having other problems that are emergency or affect your health and safety. But I want to let you know there are solutions both now and in the future. We need permanent solutions for our renters, those in informal housing arrangements, whether that's in motels, land contracts, mobile homes, or just, we know people just stay with people. You know how that goes. But we also need to make sure we provide relief and help and solutions for our nonprofit organizations that are landlords or affordable housing providers. So first, what we recommend at CDAD is that the eviction and foreclosure moratoriums be extended 90 days after the national and the state emergency declarations end. Same thing for our utility and water shutoffs, 90 days after the emergency declarations end. We also need to set up a housing and rental assistance fund to help our renters and our nonprofit landlords. Next, we need to provide additional funding for our community development organizations and nonprofit organizations that are providing essential services such as housing counseling, housing rehabilitation, and housing repair. But we also have to make sure the workers who are doing this work have access to adequate supplies of personal protection equipment and have the training of how to use it properly. But lastly, we need to monitor how state and federal officials are using CARES Act funding to ensure that it's going to help the people who have been most impacted by COVID-19 and are still dealing with the effects of all these other crises that have preceded the pandemic. I thank you for this opportunity to talk about not just the problems, but also the solutions. And hopefully we can work together to make this happen.
Thank you, Ruth. Truly appreciate it. Great, a well-rounded amount of knowledge and resources that you share with us. And now we have Charles Hobbs, Director of Legal Service Program for Street Democracy. Welcome, Charles.
Hi, thanks, Phyllis. Yeah, and my name is Charles Hobbs, and I'm an attorney from Street Democracy. That's a nonprofit that serves direct legal services to the homeless. So I'm going to talk about what these eviction moratoriums mean as they are now. And I definitely appreciate Ms. Johnson's comments and definitely support those policy changes that CDAD is advocating for. But let's get down to what these two evictions moratoriums mean. So the first one is under Governor Whitmer's executive order, and the second is under the federal law, now federal law, the CARES Act. So the Michigan executive order does basically two things. The first is that no landlord can file an eviction until the expiration of the moratorium, which is now extended to June 11th. So that means that your landlord can't file a case at the court until after June 11th. So does that mean that your landlord can serve you papers on June 12th? Not necessarily. For non-payment of rent cases, the executive order also includes a prohibition against a landlord giving written demand for possession for the non-payment of rent. So that paper, also known as a notice to quit, tells the tenant that they have 7 days to either pay the amount that is owed for rent or vacate the premises without court action. So at the expiration of that 7 days, that's when you can be served with those papers. So those are essentially the two things that the Michigan's executive order does. The CARES Act moratorium is a little bit different. So unlike Michigan, which applies to the whole state, the CARES Act moratorium applies to, as the statute refers to it, covered properties. Now, covered properties include federally subsidized housing, such as HUD-based, Section 8, project-based, or a housing choice voucher. But it also includes other federal programs that you might not be aware of, like if the developer used federal funds to build, the building you're living in, that could qualify too. Or if the property that you're living in has a federally backed mortgage, such as Freddie Mae or Freddie Mac. There's a website to find out if you do live in a property that is under the CARES Act, and that's nlihc.org/federal moratoriums. Excuse me. I will give you a place where you can go find that, because I know that's a little bit of a hard one to remember, but you can check there. So what it does is it, just like the Michigan one, it says that the landlord can't file an eviction case, but it goes until July 25th. And the second thing that it does is that it also requires the landlord to give you 30 days notice before filing that court case. So instead of the 7 days under Michigan law, you has to give you 30-day notice. And the third thing it does is it bars the landlord from charging you late fees or any other charge that's related to the non-payment of rent. So you need to be careful as to agreeing to something, if you do, that it doesn't include those late fees as well. So both moratoriums, it's important to remember that neither of them forgive rent. Okay, so rent is still due. It just delays when your landlord can go file a court case against you. Also really important is that there's no self-help evictions in Michigan. Those are illegal. That means that the landlord can't physically remove you from the property, can't change the locks, and cannot turn the utilities off on you. If that happens, make sure you contact an attorney because that should not be going on right now. Looks like I only got about a minute left, but I just wanted to mention that if you can't pay the rent, there's a number of things that you can do. First is to just talk to your landlord. My 7 years of experience in landlord-tenant court, the majority of landlords are reasonable and appreciate that heads up. You might be able to avoid court altogether, but be careful. Be careful about agreeing to anything that's not in writing, and anything that includes those charges, such as the late fees. You'll learn about your rights. There's a lot of guides out there that can give you access to your rights as well as the law. And then, talk to an attorney. There are free legal services out there that you can take advantage of. Some are income limited, but definitely talk to that attorney if you're unsure. And if you're served, show up to court. Otherwise, you're going to get a default judgment, which can affect your credit and also your ability to find housing in the future. Where you can access, Street Democracy has posted guides that you can find a list of all these resources. It'll list all the places that you can find the free guides, what the law is, what your rights are, as well as where you can possibly find a free legal attorney. And that can be found at streetdemocracy.org. And again, that's streetdemocracy.org. So I think my time's up, and that's all I have. So thanks, folks, and stay safe.
Thank you so much, Charles. I'm sure we'll have plenty of questions for you during our Q&A. Next, we'll have Charlene Snow, Director of Legal Services for United Community Housing Coalition. Charlene, welcome.
Thank you. I work with United Community Housing Coalition. We have been running, prior to the COVID crisis, a clinic at the 36th District Court for people who have cases at the court. The other speakers have covered a lot of what I was going to say about the different moratoriums. The 36th District Court has a moratorium on evictions that goes through the 12th of June. It's one day longer than what the governor's order is. So as a result of that, it should be Monday, June 15, before a bailiff would arrive at the door of anyone who has a writ that's been signed. Now, there are people who may have a judgment but don't have a writ yet, so they would have a little bit more time. But it would be the 15th at the earliest. And as Charles said, people unfortunately still do have to pay the rent. They should negotiate if they can with the landlord and see if the landlord will take something less than the full rent and get that in writing. So that if the landlord goes into court and says, well, they still owe the whole 600, 700, you have something in writing that says, oh, no, we agreed on such and so date, and here it is in writing that you were willing to take 500 on the 700 and call it a day for that month. So you want to get it in writing. Other cities within the state would be following the governor's order, which would might enable the bailiffs to come out on Friday, June 12th. So there is a little bit difference one day between City of Detroit and the rest of the state. As to folks who have Section 8 or other subsidized housing, they will fall under the CARES Act, as other speakers have mentioned, and that moratorium to recover possession or do an actual eviction would be until July 25. And as Charles said, there are no late fees that the landlord can charge during the pandemic under the CARES Act. And Charles cited the website, and I provided that to the folks today, and I'm not sure if if this information will be put up somewhere. There is a national website, and it's NLICH.org/federal-moratoriums. And that website, you go in and you put in either your city or your zip code, and it will bring up all of the places in the city where there's federal money. The United Community Housing Coalition has been doing a few things during the pandemic. We sent out 2,600 letters to people who had landlord tenant judgments from 36th District Court from February through March 13. We've had 282 callbacks from those people. We've been calling them and dealing with them on their rent. We have a grant. We were lucky to get a grant to help people pay their rent that's due during the pandemic. So we have been negotiating with landlords and the attorneys for the landlords to get agreements from the other side that upon payment of rent, any writs that might be executed are not going to go forward. And also that cases would be dismissed. And we have the ability to help people with judgments, existing judgments, who have been affected by COVID and are not able to pay rents. And if you want help with that and you have an existing judgment, you can call us. Our number for that is 313-355-3352, or you can email us at eviction@uchcdetroit.org. So that's where you can get help on that. If you have a land contract issue, you can contact us at our regular number, 313-963-3310. And you can go to our website, which is uchcdetroit.org for further information. As to mortgages, it is possible under the CARES Act that they will not be evicted prior to July 25. The CARES Act also provides that borrowers with mortgages, federally backed mortgages, can ask the lender for a forbearance period, which would extend the time period to pay back what's due on that mortgage before it is foreclosed. So we would encourage you to contact us if you need help with that. I expect others who are speaking today will have information on that as well. Again, if you have an existing judgment from 36th District Court in Detroit and need help with paying the rent, you can contact us at 313-355-3352 or eviction@uchcdetroit.org. Our general website is uchcdetroit.org, and our general phone number for land contract issues is 313-963-3310. And I'm happy to answer questions later if there are questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlene. Truly appreciate all the information that you're sharing. And just a reminder to our viewers, feel free to ask questions for the presenter via Facebook chat or through the text messaging at 313-288-2082. We will have a Q&A section about resources available for renters here in a few minutes. In the meantime, please welcome our next presenter, Tanya Phillips, Community Partnerships and Development Director for Sugar Law. Welcome, Tanya.
Welcome, Phyllis. How are you today?
Great, thank you.
And welcome to all the viewers watching. It's an honor and pleasure to be able to share. As you mentioned, I am the Director for Community Partnerships and Development at Sugar Law Center. I'm an attorney there. And I also work as the Public Policy Advisor for Michigan Legal Services. And I was given some similar topics as some of the other panelists, so I won't repeat some of the other things that have been said. I'll just underscore a couple of points and then just add a few additional things for the viewers' consideration and information. And we all know knowledge is power, so I want to share that today. Just to quickly reiterate, we do have a moratorium on evictions that is in effect right now into June 12th. And I just want to emphasize for our viewers out there that the moratorium includes even serving a demand for rent at this point. So landlords should not be serving those demands. Our Attorney General has taken the position that that is not in alignment with the governor's orders. So even the serving of notice should not be happening at this time until the moratorium is lifted. CARES Act, I've heard Charles and Charlene speak about being able to look up and see if you reside in a property that's covered by a federally backed mortgage. So whether you're a homeowner or a tenant, there are protections under that act that cover you through July, and you want to take advantage of all the protections that you're entitled to under that act. And I'll just add some additional things that we've been working on. Our office, particularly with Michigan Legal Services, we've been at the forefront of working to keep homeowners and renters safe. That's our first priority, first and foremost. So we've been working with you, Phyllis, and many people on this phone and the governor's office on extending the moratorium. And I'm happy that the governor is taking actions to put our community members' safety first. So that's been a high priority for our office. And we're also closely monitoring the reopening of the 36th District Court. So just as the state of Michigan is taking a phased approach to reopening at full capacity, the courts are under that same guidance as well. And the Michigan Supreme Court has issued guidance to trial courts, to our district courts, on when it can begin processing landlord-tenant cases again. And the doors are not going to open all at one time. There are specific data points that must be looked at, declines in COVID cases, hospital capacity, very specific criteria that the Supreme Court has laid out for our local district court to increase processing of cases. So before the court can begin processing more cases than it's already processing, they must submit a plan to the state court administrator's office, and that plan must be approved before more eviction cases can be processed. So we're closely monitoring that effort. And we've also been working, it's my pleasure to be working on the Right to Counsel initiative for the city of Detroit. I've been working on this for the past year and a half, and what that is an effort to make sure that every single low-income Detroiter in the city of Detroit has the benefit of going into court with legal representation. So we know currently only about 4% of tenants are represented, and that's a mixed match there. That's an inequitable battle. You know, when a low-income person is going and trying to present their legal rights against an attorney who's experienced in that area. So we're working very hard on that. Proud to work with Councilwoman Sheffield's office. A pilot initiative has been approved in the budget by the city of Detroit. So keep your eyes open for that as it progresses along. But I'm very happy to be a part of that. And Right to Counsel initiatives have been successful in cities all over the country right now. So I'm very proud that Detroit is exploring those avenues and making legal representation more accessible for all of our Detroit residents. So that's just a quick snapshot. I understand we have just a few minutes here, but I'm certainly glad to stay online here and answer any questions that folks have. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Certainly appreciate you. Now we have live questions and answers from our audience. Be sure to post your questions in the Facebook chat or text your questions to 313-288-2082. Sharita, do we have any questions for any of our panelists?
We do indeed. Some really good questions. We'll start with this first one. With unemployment backed up and only getting a one-time stimulus, the moratorium doesn't feel like enough. Is there any advocacy taking place to forgive rent for Michiganders who are struggling during COVID?
And any of the panelists can answer. Go ahead, Tanya.
I don't mind speaking to that. Yes, there are advocacy efforts going on. So, you know, I'm very thankful that the moratorium is taking place, but looking at it holistically is my opinion. I'm speaking for myself here, working in coalition with many advocacy organizations to have a forgiveness on mortgages and rents for a period of time also. And people may ask, how in the world is that going to happen? Well, you know, there have been several credible studies put forth. You know, it's a matter of where we're directing our stimulus monies and our bailout money. So right now, a lot of the relief is going to the mortgage servicers, and it's the obligation or the burden is on the consumer to contact their mortgage servicer to ask for forbearance relief. So what I believe could happen and would like to see happen is that you shift the burden, you put that relief directly in the hands of the people, or you mandate the mortgage services to pass it on and not create a lot of hoops and obstacles. So yes, that advocacy is going on, and it will continue to go on, and we'll see what happens. But I'm certainly on the front lines advocating for that.
Thank you so much, Tanya. Ruth, I know you want to chime in as well.
Yes, thank you for that question, because that would be the purpose of the Housing and Rental Assistance Fund. Because we know that especially our nonprofit and public housing providers have still had to provide maintenance, repairs, insurance, utilities, as well as we're very aware of our renters who still have the obligation to pay rent. We want to make sure that people don't come out of this burdened with some payments that they have no means, no matter how hard they work, be able to pay. So there should be some funding set aside for our renters and others in different housing arrangements, as well as for our nonprofit housing providers.
Thank you so much. I know we don't have a lot of time. Can I sneak in one more question, or do we need to go to the next section?
I think we can do one more.
Okay, I'll sneak in one more question. So folks would like to know what some of the steps are that someone could take who's needing rent assistance in order to avoid eviction. Yep, Charlene.
There are a couple of things they can do. Like I said, they should try to negotiate with their landlord and get that negotiation agreement in writing, and hopefully signed. Send them a thing over email and ask them to email back if that's what they agree to. Then you print it out so that you have it. If you lose your phone, you've lost the agreement. I believe that there may be some additional funds that other agencies in Detroit might have. I understand that Wayne Metro got some money to help people, and I'm sure they'll speak later. I thought I heard their name earlier. And as I said before, if you already have a judgment where you've been to court and either you got the landlord took you to court, you got a default judgment, or you were there and you entered into a judgment, our agency may be able to help you pay the rent that's due under that judgment. Now that wouldn't include, may or may not include rent from the judgment through the end of May, depending on eligibility and other factors. But again, they can contact us at 313-355-3352. And those who don't have a judgment, I think there are other agencies like Wayne Metro that may be able to help.
Charlene, thank you so much. And if there were other questions, we will certainly make sure that we get back to those. I also want to just let you know there's a survey that's posted in the chat right now. And if you fill that out, you'll be entered into a raffle for a $25 gift card. And now back to you, Phyllis.
Thank you, Sharita. Yes, we certainly want to thank our panelists, Ruth Johnson from the Community Development Advocates of Detroit, Charles Hobbs, Director of Legal Services Program for Street Democracy, Charlene Snow, Director of Legal Services, United Community Housing Coalition, and Tanya Phillips, Community Partnerships and Development Director for Sugar Law. Now we have a segment on resources available for homeowners. If you have questions for our guests, you can ask your questions by typing them in the Facebook Live chat or texting 313-288-2082. Again, that number is 313-288-2082. We have moderators on both who are transferring the questions to us, your co-facilitators today. First, we will have Donald Rencher, Director of Housing and Revitalization with the City of Detroit. Donald, welcome.
Donald, before you start, just
Right.
really quickly, if you are not speaking at this time, please put your video on mute so that folks can see the American Sign Language. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, go ahead, Donald.
Hey, no worries. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to speak today. I think I'm going to break it down, my presentation to a couple things. First, just wanted to make sure what people knew what the Housing Revitalization Department, what we do. We control and manage federal funds that come into the city of Detroit to essentially help build housing strategy and create affordable housing opportunities for people in the city. We also, none of those, it's hard to build yourself into prosperity. And so we really do need to fund programs that are social programs and provide social services to help people in the community and to provide more equitable solutions. And so in the time of COVID, I think the first thing that we tried to do, I'm going to share my screen with you all. The first thing that we tried to do was we wanted to have a specific focus on our homeless population. I remember in March, our biggest thing was like, okay, how do we ensure that people who, in a time where people need to quarantine, how do we help our homelessness population, which when many are in living in or sheltering in a space where they're in crowded space, right? And this is essentially what we did at the beginning. There's 19 emergency shelter spaces. Most of them are in congregate space, which is large space where everybody is sharing this space. And there were about 1,220 beds. Most of those beds were taken up. And so the first thing that we did was we reduced those shelters and ensured that we would open up additional overflow capacity. We're able to build 180 new shelter spaces because we wanted to make sure those shelters were reducing in size. And so we could keep the right spacing from people. We also went and did completed temperature checks and had nurses go to every shelter just to find out if people were having or symptomatic, so we can pull those individuals out of those shelters. And we started a COVID positive and symptomatic shelter space for homeless individuals. We did that in Marygrove and the Salvation Army. We saw 171 people. We've done 684 COVID tests at shelters and even at our shelter space for COVID individuals. And there are to today, we've only had 93 people actually test positive. In March, based on other cities, it was estimated that we would have 450 individuals that are homeless test positive for COVID. And so I think we're really proud of this number because we were able to reduce that number for homeless individuals. And we think our strategy on pulling sick individuals out of the space and testing and also doing temperature checks helped us address and keep that COVID positive amongst our homeless population, which is a vulnerable population, down. Now, as we are moving forward and we know that many people are worried during this COVID space, this COVID time, to address rental and rental issues and eviction issues, we are stepping into our next strategy. If I can find out the document, the city of Detroit is receiving approximately $30 million from the government. I have a document here that shows you the breakdown of how we believe we're going to spend this money. We're looking at social services, development and rehab and homeless initiatives. Social services, we want to help people receive tax preparation so they can get their stimulus checks and their earned income tax credit. We're looking for emergency rental assistance. This is definitely for somebody that we need to provide people in their time of need. Senior services for seniors who are COVID positive. How do we deliver prepared meals, prescriptions, deliveries, and hygiene kits? Legal services for people who are facing eviction to make sure that they're adequately housed. And also serving housing resource centers where people in their neighborhoods can get connections to badly needed resources. The biggest thing is how do we provide stability to the housing market right now and make sure people are staying in their home. This helps the impact of what COVID has on our population, but housing quality and ability to be sheltered is very, very important to us. And we're also looking to do a lot more permanent supportive housing for people who are 30% AMI and below. Right now we have a pipeline of about 300 units that we're trying to finish up that we announced with the mayor about a month ago now, and we're really looking to help with that. We're also working with developers and owners of housing, of multifamily developments, to help them refinance their projects. If their tenants are having trouble or difficulty paying rent, we want to make sure that they're financially solvent, but we also want to make sure that they pass that assistance down to the renter, and the renter also receives some of that forgiveness as well. Again, we're going to continue to work with our homeless community. That's super, super important. Rapid rehousing, trying to find people quality housing that are homeless and put them into units quickly. Also trying to improve our system improvements so we can track our homeless population to better provide them the care that they need. Relocation assistance is also another thing that we're looking for people who are in jeopardy of being kicked out of their units right now as developers are buying a lot of housing in the city of Detroit. But just wanted to give an overall concept of where we've been. I think we reacted very, very quickly with our homelessness community and where we want to go with the new CARES funding. So with that, I know I only have 5 minutes. I tend to talk about things for a long time. I'm open for any questions.
Thank you so much, Donald. Information coming from the city is really key, and the services that's being provided during this crucial time period in the city's history is going to be vital to keeping people in their homes. Next, we'll have Lakeisha Hancock from Youth Snapback. Lakeisha, welcome this afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hi, Phyllis and everyone out there. We're really glad to be a part of this presentation today, this town hall meeting. We're living in unprecedented times, and at Youth Snapback, we've taken great pride in being able to help the community and being that spot where people can get information. And so today we just want to go over some of the things that we've already heard, but we're going to reiterate just some things for homeowners that are necessary for them to know and take action. And what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and give you guys a view. Housing trends, where we are today. And as you've heard from previous attorneys and other colleagues in the industry, under the provisions of the CARES Act, there is mortgage relief available for homeowners. Federally backed mortgage loans can request a forbearance period if experienced financial hardship due to COVID-19. What's important for people to know, as it was outlined before, is that there are moratoriums in place that are going to expire. People don't necessarily know if they qualify. So in general, we want to make sure that homeowners are aware of how they can find out if they're eligible for what's available. That's on the federal level, but when we go to the state of Michigan level, our great governor, Governor Whitmer, along with the Michigan Department of Insurance and Financial Services, created the MI Mortgage Relief Partnership. There are over 200 plus financial institutions locally that are participating. But we found, even in this process since during COVID-19, that there are other lenders that are not even a part of the Michigan Mortgage Relief Partnership that are willing to work with their mortgagors. Those that are affected can get a 90-day grace period. And something that's important is that under the CARES Act provision and under the state relief programs, these accommodations are being made and should not affect their credit rating. And so it's important for our communities to know the full scope, including what it should and should not affect. There's supposed to be a streamlined process for requesting a forbearance. So where there's normally an enormous amount of paperwork that's involved, it is streamlined. You should be able to identify whether or not you've been unemployed, what has affected you that's causing you to have this hardship, and lenders are in place and have the authority to allow some relief. You want to make sure that you confirm the approval of your forbearance and the terms. A lot of people don't know the full extent of a forbearance. And, you know, a forbearance is where it's a temporary suspension of payment or a decrease in the payment amount. But after the forbearance period expires, there is an obligation. And that's where we want to prepare our homeowners, because the previous epidemic, foreclosure epidemic, there was a after effect. And so what we want to do is prepare for the after effect. Where are we going? Foreclosures before COVID-19. Bank foreclosures were up 20% March of 2020. And a lot of this is as a result of some of the laws that were in place that slowed the process of foreclosure down. Currently, foreclosure filings are suspended. But what we do know is after the federal stay is lifted and after the state stay is lifted, there are going to be a number of foreclosures that could potentially be filed. And so our foreclosure forecast and anticipated spike of foreclosures by 18% the first 60 to 90 days after expiration of the forbearances and moratoriums. So again, why do we want to make sure that our homeowners have this information so that you can prepare? Due to the state of the economy, foreclosures are expected to increase by an additional 34% as a result of permanent job loss and business closures. So again, what this means is that there has to be a level of proactivity. We want to touch really quickly on home purchases because one of the services that we provide at USnapback is those individuals seeking home ownership. Purchases were up 10 to 15% as of March of 2020. As a result of COVID-19, purchases were down by 7.4% in April. So what we're seeing is a decline because sellers have pulled homes off of the market and some lenders have halted lending. And so we want to also inform potential home buyers of what are the next steps as things try to resume to a form of normalcy. Here's the home purchasing forecast. Due to the state of the economy, there is a forecast that the sellers are going to sell some properties for less. Values have experienced an estimated 2.9% decrease. We are still actively providing home buyer education. And as we have participating financial institutions come in and speak to our participants, mortgage requirements have changed for some lenders. They've increased the credit score requirements, and some of the debt to income ratios have been increased as well. So we want to make sure that we're able to provide this accurate information to our potential home buyers. So what would be considered next for you? One of the things that we pride ourselves on at Youth Snapback is giving our participants information, that they stay informed. And with information, they can be proactive. And so we want you to be proactive. If you're having issues, you want to contact your lender, or you want to contact a local nonprofit to get the facts and assistance. And we've heard various nonprofits that were on before me, and there will be others after me. We're here to service you. And then to avoid falling behind if possible. And then our contact information is available to you as well. So we thank you, and we look forward to serving you.
Thank you so much, Lakeisha. We thank you for that. And now we have Michelle Oberholzer, Director of Tax Foreclosure Prevention with United Community Housing. Welcome, Michelle.
Hello, hello. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, guys. Good afternoon. This is such wonderful information. There's so many amazing people out there doing work to keep folks in their homes. So I want to speak about property taxes today and give a little update. I do have some slides to present. I don't know if I'm going to use them, but I do want them to be available for everybody after this. The big update for property taxes is that there will be no foreclosures this year. The Wayne County Treasurer announced a total moratorium on tax foreclosure. And tax foreclosure happens in a year-to-year cycle. So that means if you got that yellow bag on your door, if you were at risk of foreclosure in 2020, you're safe. Whoever was the owner is still the owner, whether you're a renter and your landlord was facing foreclosure, or you are the owner, you still have that. But the taxes are still owing. And so this is a really important time now that the pressure is off to go forward, not from a place of panic, but strategy to get these property taxes under control. And for homeowners, we have some very legitimately useful tools. So I really want to cover those with folks. If you are a low income owner, or if you've had a loss of income because of everything that's going on, you may qualify for tax exemptions. The main tax exemption I'm talking about is called the HP TAP, also known as the PTE, or the poverty tax exemption, or the property tax exemption. It has a lot of names because it's really popular, and it will help you lower your taxes if you own your home and you live there and you have a low income. And you have to apply every year with the city of Detroit. So whatever city you live in, you apply with the city. And I will share this information, but it's detroitmi.gov/HPTAP. That website will give you a lot of information. You will probably have one of these mailed to your house if you're a homeowner. And if you qualify as low income, you can fill it out. And we can help with that, by the way, because it can be difficult to do from home. But if you're approved for the HP TAP, it will do two things. The main thing that it does is it will lower the taxes that haven't even come out. Your 2020 taxes can be reduced. But now we have a new opportunity with this HP TAP, can actually go backward and help you out with the delinquent taxes that you owe to the Wayne County Treasurer. So this is incredible. This is a result of a lot of advocacy and leadership in our state legislature. Representative Wendell Bird passed this, and we got it signed into law just in March. And so right now, there are a lot of people, if they go to the Wayne County Treasurer website and search their address, they're gonna have a purple button under their debt, and it will say PAYS, P-A-Y-S. This is a plan that will cut your debt relative to your house value. There are some people who will save $8,000 or $10,000. There are two ways to get the PAYS plan. One way is to do a month-to-month payment over the course of 3 years, and one way is to do a lump sum. We really recommend you do the lump sum. It's a little bit more money in one time, but you get an additional discount, and you have that peace of mind of knowing that debt is never coming back. You know, you don't want to get on a plan and possibly fall off. You can just graduate out of having any debt. So please take advantage of this. If you're low income and you have back taxes, you don't have to wait for the yellow bag to come in November. You can resolve this now for very little money. The other thing I want to just very quickly address is if you are not the owner and you live in a home that was facing foreclosure, we're very proud at UCHC of our Make It Home program. This is the program that helps you buy the home that you live in if it is foreclosed. And so that program will not exist this year because there aren't any foreclosures. So that might be sort of bad news for people who are renting and difficult conditions, you know, things like that. Please call us, keep in touch, get in touch. This program will resume next year, God willing. And there are still some rights that you have, of course, as renters in the interim that we want to help connect you with. There's so much, you know, that you're going to balance with your land contract, your mortgage, your rent, your home ownership. Property taxes can kind of infiltrate all of those different areas. And UCHC would love to help folks make sure they understand it. We like to say nobody should lose their home for lack of information. So please come in and check in with us. I'll give you a few phone numbers. Our hotline is 313-405-7726. You can look it up on our website, uchcdetroit.org. And Wayne Metro is a group that, to the previous question, they can help with rental payments, land contract, mortgage, and even property taxes. You can call us if you want help applying for that. And be happy to take questions. And let's make sure that we get all these homeowners in Detroit out of tax debt and emerge fresh into the new year, okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Truly appreciate the information that everyone is sharing with us today and the long history of UCHC and their work in the community. And now we will have Tracy Smith, a housing counselor and financial wellness coach with Central Detroit Christian Community Development Corporation. Good afternoon, Tracy.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm more excited to be here, I think, probably than those who are on Facebook. I'm getting some good information as well. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to talk about two subjects mainly. One is going to be financial literacy and the importance of financial literacy. And then I want to also talk a little bit about loan modifications or mortgage loan modifications and the difference between that and mortgage refinancing. So first things first, let's talk about financial literacy. How important it is to be on top of our finances, how important it is to have an understanding of our finances. Financial literacy is important because it is the key to being effective, efficient, and essential when it comes to our finances. With those skills of managing our money, we can be successful down the road, right? Making good financial decisions keeps us better prepared. Could anything have prepared us for this COVID-19 pandemic? Absolutely not. Most households, including my own, are struggling. It's hard to go from a two-family household to income to one or to none. And if you don't have your finances even just a little bit under control, things can get out of hand rather quickly. As we all know, we're talking about being able to pay our rent and being able to pay our utilities, being able to pay our mortgage and car notes and things of that nature, feed our families. So I just want people out there to know that don't think for a second that because this pandemic is going on, that we need to get our eye off of our finances. It may feel like we can't save, but the truth of the matter is saving $5 is better than nothing at all, right? If you save $5, I don't know, a week for 52 weeks, that's like 260 something odd dollars. If you did $7 a week for 52 weeks, I think that's like $364 at the end of 52 weeks. So I say it to say that it can be done. And I'm a firm believer that everything is doable. It's just a matter of negotiation. And right now, in my opinion, I think this is the perfect time to negotiate. It's time to call our lenders, call maybe some of our creditors, and just really have a conversation. Because when we're struggling, it feels like our bills, the people who need to be paid, it feels like they're not struggling. But the truth of the matter is they're struggling too. And so right now is a great time to show empathy, right? So you call, you have a conversation, and you open up the dialogue and figure out, as a household, what can we afford to potentially maybe cut back, trim the fat on some things that maybe you normally would not have, because our income looks a little different. And that can be anything from cable to cell phones, to going to the market and maybe not getting those extra things that we would normally get when the money was flowing rather well. So I just wanted to encourage people, all those out there, to know that we are literally all in this together, and we're all struggling in one way or another. And just because our one struggle doesn't look like the other struggle doesn't mean that we're not all struggling, right? So the other thing to that is, I want to talk about financial literacy and how it can stabilize a community. Right. So I did a little research, and research has shown that financial literacy reduces income inequality. And by doing that, it puts people on a path towards prosperous and a stable life, which in turn can impact communities for the better. And that is exactly what we want to do. We want to keep our communities growing and healthy. The other thing I would like to talk about is loan modifications and refinancing. I've gotten a lot of calls lately about that and what the difference is. So the difference: if you are looking for a loan modification, that is an existing loan mortgage that you have right now, and you're asking, or you're presenting yourself in a way to say, hey, this is too much right now. Can I get a loan modification? Can I reduce my payment? Right? And then a refinance is just a totally new loan. And that new loan should be with a lower interest rate. And that too will potentially reduce your mortgage payment. So that would be the difference. Refinance is a new loan, and then a loan modification is just modifying your existing loan. And it's the same goal, which is to lower your mortgage payments. The other calls I've been getting is, can I get 2 loan modifications during COVID-19? And the answer to that is maybe. It all depends on really what your situation was. If you were approved for a loan modification and then you became affected by COVID-19, if you can show that there's a financial hardship, a divorce, an increase in expenses, a decrease in income, then actually, yes, you can receive a loan modification after being refinanced. Usually it's 12 to 24 months, and it's considered to be, let me see, what is it called? It's called a post-loan modification. So that's between 12 and 24 months. During that period, you could potentially refinance your loan, a loan modification. Right. So I think that's important too. It's just a matter of figuring out what works for your household. Everyone may not need a loan mod. You may need a refi. And then everyone may not need a refi. You may just be able to just modify your original loan. So I just want to put that out there. And also, a lot of folks have talked about the moratoriums and the CARES Act. I say, reach out to all of the resources, reach out to your lenders and your servicers, and open up that dialogue. You're not going to know if you don't ask the question. And the biggest thing is, I don't know what question to ask. The first question should be, what do I qualify for currently?
Thank you,
so
Tracy.
I hope some of that helped. And thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. There's a wealth of information that we want to get out and share. I just want to remind everybody to speak a little slower. We do have interpreters that are assisting us. And if you're not speaking, please put your screen on, not showing your video. Next, we have with us Mr. Willie Dunwell from the city of Detroit. Willie, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing today? So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the border review, what we do, and how we're working with citizens during this particular time. So the border review is a 9-member body appointed by City Council to hear your property tax appeal concerns. That's valuation, classification, property tax exemptions based upon poverty, veterans exemptions, and other matters that the Border Review has under its purview to relative to real and personal property. The couple of things that I'm going to focus on today, though, is the Homeowners Property Tax Assistance Program, which is HPTAP. And we're going to talk about valuation because there was an executive order that was released recently where we'll be able to still hear appeals. So first, with the Homeowners Property Tax Assistance Program, the state law under MCL 2117U provides the opportunity for a owner-occupied property to have the opportunity to be exempt of property taxes based upon income or circumstance. Each jurisdiction within the state of Michigan has the same opportunity to offer this program. So it's not just Detroit. Every municipality around the state has the same option, but they do have to create guidelines in order for individuals to apply, homeowners to apply. So outside of Detroit, please check with the local jurisdiction to find out what their application guidelines are or to retrieve the actual application. As it relates to the city of Detroit, the Homeowners Property Tax Assistance Program is designed on many levels to assist homeowners with the payment or removal of their property taxes based upon income or circumstance. The application starts with the income, and we look at the income first based upon the number of people in the household. The Board of Review is the only entity that can actually make a decision on the application. But we start with the income so we can get an idea of what's going on in the household. And those guidelines are set every year. We submit them to the city council and they, under resolution, approve those guidelines for what the application process is going to be. Typically, when the applicant provides the application and all supporting documentation, they're generally approved. We process typically thousands of applications every year, and we try to make the process as simple as possible. This year is a little different. This year, we know that people are struggling to get information to us or don't have easy access to copiers or notary or certain things. So we're looking at a lot of different options to provide additional resources, which we should have wrapped up actually by the end of this week, so that people will be able to have easier access to the Board of Review for the submission of applications or the submission of supporting documentation. But currently, the submission of supporting documentations can be done by fax, email, mail, and which are the standard processes. Unfortunately, we're not doing any forward-facing or public-facing interaction right now. We don't know how soon that's going to be, but again, we're looking at additional processes so that we can continue to process applications as simple as possible for the community. As it relates to individuals who are over income, if you are over income, and this was even prior to the COVID situation, tell us your story. We know that there's individuals or homeowners that have health concerns at their home where they're dealing with additional medical costs, or there was a circumstance that occurred in the household that caused them to lose a household member, which in addition caused a substantial loss of household income, or other circumstances where the household income is impacted. Tell us your story. The Board of Review has the ability to deviate from the guidelines based upon what's called substantial and compelling reasons. So we evaluate those situations on a case-by-case basis and make a determination accordingly. So just because your income is above the guidelines does not mean that should prevent you from filing an application for assistance. We know that even more now than ever, people are looking for help. And I just submit to you that you need to apply and allow the board to make a determination. The other thing that I want to definitely make sure that you're aware of right now. So the Governor Whitmer issued Executive Order 2020-87, which extended the March Board of Review deadline to July 21st. So the city of Detroit will be allowing homeowners or any property owner actually in the city of Detroit the ability to appeal their property taxes, which is normally has only been available during the month of March. You'll be able to do that from from June 1 to July 21st. July 21st is the cutoff date. If you go to the City of Detroit website, to the Office of the Assessor, on the main page, you will see a brief statement regarding the executive order. And under that statement, there is a link that will connect you to the petition that you can complete and turn in. You can mail it in. I prefer that you email it to assessor review at detroitmi.gov. That's assessor review at detroitmi.gov, so that and turn that in more sooner than later. So then that way it can have a chance to be looked at, and any questions that need to be addressed or anything that needs to be discussed prior to any determination can be done prior to that July 21st date. The great thing is that the Board of Review is back working. Generally, we're in the office on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Thursdays, we are doing our Zoom meeting relative to our poverty exemption read-ins, so that we can constantly update the Wayne County Treasurer on individuals who potentially qualify for the PAYS program, and have that information updated so they can constantly update citizens, and we can get more and more people into that program. As it relates to PAYS and the City of Detroit and how it actually works, you cannot get into PAYS without having an exemption. The exemption is the very first part. So with the City of Detroit, we have a committed working relationship with the Wayne County Treasurer where we update them every time the Board of Review meets and grants, denies, whatever our decisions are for the poverty exemption applications. That information is then transferred to Wayne County Treasurer, and then they update their website for those individuals who qualify for the PAYS program. If you want more information about PAYS, you can actually go to the City of Detroit website, detroitmi.gov/PAYS, P-A-Y-S, and it will give you all the information about what PAYS is, how it works. There's also a link on that page for the tax exemption application, for the HP TAP exemption application. Also, again, the information regarding the exemption application and that process, detroitmi.gov/HPTAP. And I will be around for any questions.
Thank you so much, Willie. We really want to thank Donald, Lakeisha, Michelle, Tracy, and Willie for their time today and for their services to our great city. We have about 2 minutes for questions and answers. With some questions, Sharita, do we have any questions?
We do indeed, and I'm gonna try to find some that can be answered relatively quickly. We have a few. The first question I have here is there any way that there will be a program like PAYS, but for all Detroiters that will wipe out back taxes so there isn't a terrible fallout after the moratorium?
I may be able to answer that a bit. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Is there any way? There may be. A lot of it is limited by what the legislature allows. In the past, we have had different payment plans. So right now, the payment plan we were able to get is PAYS, which is really specifically narrowed to folks who get this HP TAP. There have been suggestions that there would be discounts associated with your property value that wouldn't just be for low-income residents, but all homeowners. And I do know that the City of Detroit is looking into concerns about overassessments. I do believe that they're still actively on that, even though there's this budget shortfall. Is it possible? Yes, but we definitely can't wait because many people have lost their homes in the interim. So we definitely have to use the tools that we have and continue to fight for more.
Thank you, Michelle. We have time for one more question, Sharita.
Just real briefly.
Good afternoon, Sharita and Phyllis. This is Jerome Join from Wayne Metro Community Action Agency. And I just wanted to acknowledge that I am indeed on the call. If there are any questions as it relates to the Wayne Metro Cares Relief and Recovery Services.
We haven't gotten to you yet, Jerome. We were, Willie was answering questions. We only have like about 20 minutes for 20 seconds for if we got a quick question, Sharita.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just ask this one. Will loan remodification affect your credit?
So as it relates to loan modifications, if the loan is already in a negative status, the credit is already affected. Until it goes into a permanent modification status, will it resume reporting in a positive way?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Last thing, folks are also asking if the document that Mr. Renter shared about the breakdown of the CARES Act funds, if that would be public and if it can be shared. So Donald, if you're still available.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I was just about to jump off. Yes, we plan to put in a resolution for City Council this Friday. It's going to be public for everyone to see, and so people will see the breakdown in money and where each dollar is going to. So I encourage that. I can also send the document that I put on. That I provided for the presentation. I can send that over to you, Sharita. If you want to email me, I can make sure you can disseminate to your to the masses.
Thank you so much. Okay, there's also a survey that is in the chat right now, so please fill that out so you can be entered in the raffle, and we will move on with Phyllis to our next session.
Thank you, Sharita. Our next segment will focus on providing direct resources for Detroiters facing financial hardship. Remember, if you have any questions, please type them in the Facebook chat or text it to 313-288-2082. We will try our best to answer all the questions after this program, but we will make sure that if we can get to as many as we can. So for this next session, our first speaker today is Jerome Drain, Director of Community Engagement with Wayne Metro. I want our panelists to know that we are on a time frame, so I will keep you to your 5 minutes. Jerome? Jerome? Okay, well, we'll come back with Jerome. We'll go with Tony Paris, lead attorney with Sugar Law. Are you back, Jerome?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Okay, yes, thank you, Phyllis, yes. And again, yes, I am with Wayne Metro Community Action Agency. I am the Community Engagement Director for the agency. And as many of you may be aware, Wayne Metro has provided approximately $8 million for individuals during this pandemic to assist individuals in different areas, to include water and energy assistance, food and income supports, emergency home repairs, rent and mortgage assistance, property tax assistance. And we have not been in this arena before, but funeral supports to assist individuals with, burial and cremation services. We launched on April 27th with the mayor for the city of Detroit. And during that time, we have received over 9,000 applications for assistance. We are going through those applications at this time, and we should be through those applications within the next 30 days. But individuals can continue to contact or reach out to us on our website at www.waynemetro.org/cares, or they can call us at 313-388-9799 for assistance in filling out the application. But again, we are going through and we're processing approximately 9,000 applications right now, and we will continue to work to process the remaining applications as individuals contact our organization. And so we want individuals to know that we do have funding assistance available, and individuals that would qualify are individuals that may be at 200% of the poverty level, which for a family of 4 is about $52,400. If they are laid off, they have received a decrease in hours, or they have received, they're recipients of unemployment at this time, and or if they have a child receiving free or reduced lunch. So we are available. As one of the other panelists spoke to earlier, as it relates to the rent and mortgage assistance, yes, that is available. But at this point, we will be continuing to process the applications, and individuals that submit applications at this point in time, it'll probably be around a 30-day time frame for which we can respond to their request. And so I will remain on the line for any additional questions.
Thank you so much, Jerome, and we thank Wayne, certainly Wayne Metro, for what they're doing. Our next panelist is Mr. Tony Paris, lead attorney with Sugar Law, to talk about unemployment, something that is very concerning to a lot of folks, especially you know, as they are unable to acquire. So Tony, thank you.
For having me. I'm Tony Paris. I work at the Sugar Law Center for Economic and Social Justice. We're a nonprofit workers' rights law center that works primarily in the field of the labor and employment law. I specialize in unemployment insurance benefits and rights, and have done it for about a decade at Sugar Law. Pretty much, we are seeing unprecedented demand for unemployment insurance benefits. Additionally, we have seen some really interesting and potentially beneficial expansions, not only to who can collect unemployment benefits, but more importantly, the amount that they can collect and for the amount of time that they can collect. Not only on the state level with some great executive orders that our governor has put through, but federally as well. Unemployment insurance is potentially important right now because obviously folks are not either able to return to work, are having reduced hours, need to stay home to care for children during this time, are otherwise immunocompromised and unable or available for work. And so not only do we see that folks can file and should try to file to see whether they're eligible, but these issues will also come up as folks are required or being asked to come back to work as the economy may gradually reopen. Many folks might want to know when they can refuse an offer of work, when they can leave their work, when they're still eligible to collect unemployment, even though they need to stay home or otherwise are worried about their health or safety at work. We are here to answer all of those questions. I provided our website, email, and phone number on the form that can be available. Pretty much what everybody should know is that when in doubt, you should file. Not only is it free to file, as long as you are truthful in your application of it, and even if you're denied, we can help walk you through those denials and potentially protest or appeal those denials for you if necessary. We have a lot of resources here in our summer law clerks and interns who are further able to talk to folks through the unemployment process. Obviously, the agency is asking that people be very patient. We have never seen this level of unemployment insurance filings. 1.5 million folks supposedly have filed. That's more than the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009, which is only about 300,000. So the agency is having a hard time keeping up with the filings, but have put all hands on deck to process claims. Be patient if your claim gets hung up. Make sure while it's hung up, you keep certifying for benefits. You let them know that you're available for benefits. Your work search requirement is completely waived during this time period because of Governor Whitmer's executive order and because of how high the unemployment rate is. And of course, constantly check your unemployment account. It's called a MyWAM account to see if there's any correspondence in there that you may not otherwise understand. And then you can reach out to us, particularly if you end up getting scheduled for a phone hearing over your eligibility. That's where Sugar Law specializes in assisting workers. The last thing I will say is if you need to keep certifying even if your claim is hung up, because that way, if and when you're able to win your benefits, you will get all your back pay for the amount of time that you were unemployed but still waiting to be approved. Additionally to the $362 a week that Michigan may provide you, you have a $600 addition to that weekly that's federally, that's looking to go through at least July and potentially even longer. There's 39 weeks of eligibility at this point. That may as well be extended. And even if you get denied on your monetary determination for not having enough wages in the past 6 quarters or year and a half, the expansions also cover underemployed folks, gig workers, 1099 workers, contract workers, cash workers. All of those type of workers are now, for the first time in history as I can remember, potentially eligible to collect unemployment insurance benefits. So we're here for you. Let us know if you get a part-time job in between or want to refuse work. There's a formula at what you can still potentially collect during that time period. And as the economy reopens, if you do not feel comfortable going back, please let us know and we can inform you further of what your rights are. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Phyllis. This is Jerome. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, there were 2 other items that I neglected to mention.
Jerome, can we come back to you in 1 second? Let me get through this and we'll come back. Thank you. Thank you, Jerome, and thank you, Tony. And now we have Logan Appleby from AmeriCorps Green Schools Coordinator with EcoWorks. Logan, welcome aboard.
Hi, Phyllis.
Hi.
Thanks for having me. Can everyone hear me and see me all right? Phyllis, can you hear me?
Yes, you're good. Go ahead, Logan.
Okay, sorry, my internet's a little unstable, so if I cut out at any time, please let me know. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, if that's all right. I have a brief presentation. I'm going to share our presentation. Phyllis, can you see my screen?
No, I can't see it yet. I don't know if someone else.
Okay. Let me.
You might want to just go ahead and start talking
I'll
about
just
it.
go ahead.
For sake of
That's
time.
fine. Yep.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead without it. So first, I want to introduce a program from EcoWorks. I'm an AmeriCorps Green School Coordinator with EcoWorks. We're a nonprofit based on 7 Mile in Detroit. So we have a program that I want to talk about called the Healthy Homes Kits program. So due to the COVID-19 stay home, stay safe order in the state of Michigan, we have identified a need to reduce utility bills and possible environmental home health hazards because people are spending more time at home and they may be increasing their energy and water use. So we want to enhance home health and sustainability by improving indoor air quality and reducing utility bills. So I'm gonna, I guess you can't see my slides anyways. So we are creating customized home health kits that are free to any Detroit resident and anyone who lives in a Detroit Public Schools community district household. Anyone can apply as long as they live in Detroit or attend Detroit Public Schools community district. And this is a free personalized program, although our quantity is somewhat limited. So these kits focus on 3 main areas: reducing our water use, reducing our energy use, and improving home health. So we provide products like carbon monoxide detectors to detect unknown carbon monoxide leaks that may be affecting folks because they are spending more time at home and they maybe didn't know they had a leak before, but now that need is more pressing. It includes irritant-free cleaning products because as folks are, using more cleaning products to reduce the possibility of contracting COVID-19 and associated illnesses, we want to make sure that we are providing cleaning products that will not irritate folks who have respiratory illnesses or other pre-existing conditions. We want to provide items to save water and reduce our water bills. So that could be minor repair kits for our toilet, like our toilet flapper. It could be a toilet tank reservoir. It could be water-saving shower heads. It could be water-saving faucet aerators. So anything that someone doesn't have in those regards, we want to provide them to reduce their water bill. To reduce their energy bill, we want to provide LED light bulbs, provide door sweeps or seals like rope caulk or a V seal for doors and windows if necessary, or plastic window insulation kits. So we want to help folks reduce their energy bills as they are now home more often and possibly using more energy due to the pandemic and the stay-at-home order. So we have a pretty simple process. First, you just have to visit ecoworks.org/healthyhomes. Phyllis, I know that information was provided in the form, so please distribute that as well. But that's, again, ecoworks.org/healthyhomes. Once you're at ecoworks.org/healthyhomes, we just ask that you complete a short audit to assess those needs that we discussed. This audit is in a document form. It's in English, it is in Spanish. We're working on having it translated to Arabic, but you don't need to print that and send it in. You just have to look at it, complete the audit, and then respond to our survey via Google form or over the phone. That phone number is 313-483-7604. But that phone number can also be found on our website, and we actually prefer the Google form as well if you have access to that, if you can use that on a smartphone, a tablet, or a computer. So once you filled out the form, you actually just wait, and we will deliver your personalized kit to your front door contactlessly so that you can start to install any items that you have. And we have how-to videos and included instructions in case you are unfamiliar with some of these parts.
Thank you, Logan. Truly appreciate your information. We have time for a few questions. Sharita, do we have questions? And as people remember, please type it into your Facebook chat or text 313-288-2082. Sharita, do we have any questions?
We do indeed. We had a few in particular for the Wayne Metro Cares program. So I know Jerome wanted to say a couple more things, and maybe he can just include it in response to these questions. So one is folks are hearing that the program is running out of funding because there's so much demand for it. So one, to let folks know if there's still funding available, and two, whether or not you would encourage them to still be applying. And then also, are undocumented folks able to apply for assistance? And then is there a way to follow up once you've actually submitted an application? And I'm happy to repeat any of that if you need me to do so.
Jerome, you're on mute. You want to answer that?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So no, we're not out of funding. We still have funding. We are processing. We have approximately 9,000 applications that we are processing now, but we are continuing to accept applications for assistance for that. The second question you had was, what was the second question? I'm sorry.
Around are undocumented folks able to apply?
Yes, they can submit an application for assistance as well. That is indeed true. And the other items, Phyllis, that I wanted to speak to were, one is that the WRAP program, which is the Water Residential Assistance Program, which assists Detroiters with paying on their water bills for up to $1,000 a year. That program has received approval from the Great Lakes Water Authority to expand the qualifications, the eligibility qualifications to 200%, which is individuals that make approximately $52,400 a year are eligible to enroll in the WRAP program. And again, that program provides assistance up to $1,000 a year for a household, as well as if they have higher than normal water usage, up to $1,500 to assist them with their minor plumbing repairs. And we want to make sure that gets out there, because originally it was 150%, which was only a family of 4 at $38,000. We want to make sure that we get that out to the community, because there is a wide range of individuals and households that do qualify for that program at this point. Number two is that we want to make sure we get the information out that Census 2020, we want to make sure that individuals are able to fill out their applications for Census 2020, because that funding comes directly back to the city of Detroit over a 10-year time frame. And then third is that Wayne Metro continues to do taxes. We do have a virtual tax prep program where individuals can get their taxes done virtually if they contact our call center at 313-388-9799.
Thank you, Jerome. I think we have time for one more question. Sharita, if you have one.
No, you can go right ahead, Phyllis.
Okay, certainly, thank you. Certainly, we want to thank Jerome, Tony, and lost my name. Jerome, Tony, and Logan. Thank you for your participation today. We truly, truly appreciate you being here. Remember that COVID is not over. Let us take precautions to ensure that we keep ourselves safe, our families safe. And remember all of the things we've heard today. If you're having difficulty, there are resources available, but more importantly, if you have the funding, please pay your rent and your mortgages, because COVID, the moratoriums they put on rent and mortgages will end soon, and we want people to be able to be in their home as long as possible. So if you have the funding to pay your rent and your mortgages, please do so. Now we have a segment on low-income housing, and our guest today is Claudia Sanford. She's the Director of Tenant Organizing with United Community Housing Coalition. Claudia, we welcome you.
Phyllis, Claudia actually wasn't able to be on today, I don't think. Oh,
No,
Claudia, you are here.
I'm actually here. I'm
You have like
sorry.
a 2 minute for us?
Okay,
Yeah.
Claudia, you have about 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just introduce myself. I'm Claudia Sanford. I'm the Director of Tenant Organizing with the United Community Housing Coalition. I can be reached at C. Sanford, that's SANFORD UCHC @yahoo.com, or my cell phone, these days working from home. So you can reach me directly on the cell 313-570-0992. We are working just as hard as we did at the start of COVID from home, sometimes even more. Some of my big concerns these days are COVID in the senior buildings. There is still displacement going on, or projects that require tenants to relocate. I won't call it displacement just now. And so we're still working on that. So things haven't stopped. And to echo what Phyllis just said, please pay your rent, because those rents will come due if you have an issue with especially if you're a senior or not, or if you're living in a Section 8 subsidized property, please pay your rent. Otherwise, give us a call at UCHC so we can assist you with that. Some of the things that I work on, or as I kind of said earlier, is if there is a project where people are being displaced from their properties, wholesale displacement of somebody comes and purchases your property, I go in and work with the tenants to help them relocate. I go into predominantly Section 8 properties to work with tenants to help form tenant councils so they can hopefully have a voice in their community and understand and demand their rights. And I think my 2 minutes may be up, but I welcome people to call me, and I hope to have more of a conversation in the future, especially around what's going on in senior buildings and with the COVID crisis right now.
Thank you, Claudia. That's certainly a very important topic as we have, you know, an aging population in the city of Detroit. We don't have time for questions right now, but Sharita, did you want to say something about posting questions? Okay, well, I'll just say, just remember to do the survey. There's a $25 gift card associated with that you can win if you fill out the survey, and you can be entered into the raffle. And certainly we want to move to our final and last presenter today. She is Monique Taylor. She's a parent and a community outreach coordinator with one of our partners, Hope Starts Here. Certainly we want to welcome Monique. Monique, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm here. Thank you all for having me on this afternoon. I appreciate being here. My name is Monique Taylor, as they said. I am a Detroit champion of hope. My title is coordinator. I'm community outreach coordinator, and we are actually working on Imperative 2 right now. Imperative 2 is to support our parents, our caregivers, as they're being our children's first teachers and champions of Detroit. I just wanted to say to everyone that with this imperative, we are working on the 60 days. We are reading to our children, hugging our children, speaking to our children. We are encouraging them. We are singing to them, and we are playing with them. I am the community outreach co-coordinator for Districts 1 and 7. And in Districts 1 and 7, the ways we are doing our 60 days is that we are posting on our platforms, such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have all these platforms, please like us and use the hashtag Hope Builds. And that's Hope Builds with an S. We would really love to hear your suggestions on how you all are doing your 60 days with your family. Can I just say, I am a mother of 2 sets of twins. My oldest set of twins just turned 25 yesterday. So I'm a mother and a grandmother. I have 2 granddaughters, one named Zanai, who is 1 year old, and one named Kenzie, that is 6 months old. And my favorite 60 day to do is sing. During this COVID-19, I have not been able to see them, but I have been FaceTiming them, and I sing their favorite songs to them. My granddaughter Zanai, I sing I Am Supergirl to her. My granddaughter Kenzie, I sing You Are Amazing Just the Way You Are. Those are some of the things that we like to do. I encourage you all again as parents to please come on our platforms. Grandparents, aunties, uncles, everyone are invited to come on. It takes this whole village to raise our children. And at this time, we need every one of you. And everything that you guys are doing out here with the children, we would love for you to share with us. And also, I wanted to say, with you all having us on here, I believe that every single last one of us are heroes. All our essential workers that have to get out here and go to work every day. Everyone who is staying home and staying safe and saving lives by staying at home. You are important. Everyone is important. All my caregivers out there that are doing overtime for what they used to do and don't really see the benefits now, the children see it. The children love it. Thank you for helping them with their homework. Thank you. Thank you to the pastors who are there to help the people pray and get them through their mental health issues at this time. Thank you all for having me on today. Parents, please use your platforms. Reach out to us. Hope Starts Here Detroit. Thank you. And use the hashtag HopeBuild.
Monique, thank you so much for those words and that encouragement. We appreciate you so very much. As we near 2 o'clock, it's time for us to wrap up our town hall for today. Thank you again to all our panelists and guests, and thank you to you, each and every one who joined us today. While listening to our guests, I'm so reminded of the importance of not only getting through the crisis, but really beginning to look to the future, supporting our neighbors and being proactive about our money. We know that there are lots of professionals, lawyers, and community organizations who are here to support us as residents of the city of Detroit, and we encourage them to keep doing all that they can to communicate with and offer resources to our people. Many of our conversations recently have revolved around how we can get through this crisis, keeping ourselves and our community safe and coming out on the other side. We aren't looking to just get back to normal, right? We want to see our communities and our city advance to be much more just and equitable and have systems that work for all of our families. We hope you're with us and will continue with us in this fight. Thank you so much for interacting with us today during the town hall. If your question was not answered, we want you to know that we will get the answers and post them next week on onedetroitpbs.org. Again, the COVID313 Coalition for Families and Students will be here every Thursday from noon to 2 p.m. to bring you the most up-to-date information. If you want to sign up for regular updates, please fill out the form in the chat or put your email or phone number in the Facebook chat, or you can text us at 313-288-2082. Again, that's 313-288-2082. As always, we have just a few asks for you. And one is just to kind of stay in touch with us. We look forward to continuing these conversations moving forward. We also want to make sure that if you haven't done so already, you fill out the census. It takes most people just 10 minutes to fill it out. These 10 minutes will ensure that we have the funds for education, healthcare, food, and emergency services for the next 10 years. Encourage your friends and family by participating in our Sidewalk Chalk Challenge, hashtag We All Count. Again, we're posting that survey in the chat one last time. Please fill it out so you can be entered in that raffle for the $25 Visa gift card. This town hall is truly a group effort. So before we go, we want to thank all our partners again and ask them to turn on their video so we can see your beautiful faces. Stay healthy, everybody. Stay powerful, stay strong, and have a great rest of your week.
Will you share that message in Arabic?
كن آمنا، ابقى ثابتا ومتينا وابقى قويا. إلى اللقاء. Thank you.
Gloria, will you share that in Spanish, please?
Recuerden que COVID no se ha terminado, así que manténganse alertas y vigilantes.
Thank you.
Great day in the neighborhood. Have a great one.